Evening brings no peace to the estate of Collinwood, for there is a new master in the great house, Gerard Stiles, possessed by the spirit of the warlock Judah Zachary, and Quentin Collins is on trial for his life, charged with witchcraft. Quentin has won the first round, for Samantha testified against him, accusing him of bringing the ghost of Joanna Mills to Collinwood through a seance. But this attempt to communicate with the dead was dismissed as irrelevant. Now Daphne, home from the courtroom, has a dream in which she sees herself in a strange room, wearing a wedding dress, calling for her husband, Gerard. And when she awakes, she is mysteriously drawn to a deserted wing of the house.
Where have I seen this before? Why can't I remember? What's happening to me? Why did I come here?
Daphne, are you exploring too? I love this house so. It's so full of surprises.
Yes, isn't it?
This room, it looks as if it's waiting for someone to come in and just start living.
Yes.
Oh, what a beautiful dress. Is it yours?
No, it's not.
It's a wedding dress.
I know.
And it's new. Whose could it be?
I don't know.
Just the kind of wedding dress I want to be married in.
Put it down, Carrie. Now!
You're angry.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
Whose could it be? It's a real mystery. I adore mysteries.
Now, Carrie, don't start romanticizing. The dress is probably not new. It's probably been here for years.
But it's in style.
Talking about it's not going to explain it. Let's go back to the other wing.
There's a secret in this room. I can feel it. It isn't just an unused room. Something important's going to happen here.
Carrie, I used to be just like you.
Were you?
Making stories out of anything that was even the slightest bit unusual.
Why did you stop?
Well, I don't know. I grew older, that's all. And I learned that nothing really is as we imagine it. That other people have plans for us. Plans we don't even know about, but plans that affect us. Now, come on. We've been here long enough.
Every day that Quentin Collins' trial continues, fear mounts in the village. Everyone knows that he will soon grow desperate, and they're afraid of the consequences. His powers as a warlock are great, and he will soon be forced to use them. I tell you, Gerard, the trial must be brought to a faster conclusion.
There's nothing I can do about that.
You could speak to your friend Dawson. Have him put me on the witness stand.
I am afraid I have very little influence over Dawson.
Oh, nonsense. I wouldn't be surprised if you, using your influence as master of Collinwood, weren't instrumental in getting him appointed prosecutor.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Trask, but I had nothing to do with that.
Well, however he was appointed, it was a good choice. But he must be more driving. We must guard his left flank while he charges onward. This is a battle. Armageddon itself. Surely you will agree to that.
You made it into an Armageddon. Yes.
There is one who should be on the witness stand with Quentin, awaiting the judgment of the tribunal, awaiting the flash of the executioner's axe.
Barnabas. Barnabas Collins.
Yes. Will you come out into the open about him? Will you join me in seeing that he gets the punishment he deserves? Seeing that Barnabas Collins is beheaded too?
There is only one reason why Barnabas Collins isn't in the prisoner's dock. We have no case against him.
But he and Quentin are cohorts in this, I know it. Barnabas Collins knows more about Roxanne's death than he's admitted. He held some strange power over her.
That could be your imagination, Trask. You were in love with him.
Yes. When I think of my beloved, as she was, and as they made her, a vampire.
But we have no proof of that.
I can prove it. She attacked me. I've told you that before. And if that's not sufficient, there's Julia Collins. She could be called and forced to testify about the attacks upon her.
You would do that? You would expose Roxanne? You would let everyone know?
Yes. I would sacrifice her good name so the evil could be recognized and dealt with.
There's only one point that you've overlooked, Trask. In order to be a vampire, one has to be bitten by one, and as we both know, Quentin is not a vampire.
Could Barnabas be?
He certainly has been acting strange lately.
We must find out.
Yes, but carefully. It is extremely dangerous if there is a vampire in our midst.
Yes, we must proceed with caution. I shall curb my impatience to see this to its end. What is our first step?
First step is Flora. She was inspired by Roxanne to write a book about vampirism. She has dealt long and hard into the old records. Yes. Tomorrow we shall go visit Flora. But there must not be one word about Barnabas. No one must suspect that.
Very well. I'll meet you at Flora's at 3, if that is satisfactory. You've helped me more than you know, Gerard. For the first time, I feel that I shall live to see peace about my Roxanne.
Oh, excuse me.
Don't go.
I find it very difficult to stay in the same room with you.
Now what have I done?
Your friend Dawson, if you could have heard him in that courtroom today, he really hates Quentin.
Dawson is merely the county prosecutor. He takes his job seriously, and he wants to win the case. Oh, it was my mistake to bring him here.
Are you admitting it was a mistake?
Of course I am. I asked him not to accept the case. I pleaded with him, if you would believe that. But he refused. And now Charles Dawson is no longer my friend. And I will tell Quentin that when I see him tomorrow.
Oh, well, then I'm very sorry about what I said just then.
Why are you so determined to be alone and suffer? Why? Why didn't you tell me that you and Samantha had seen the ghost of Joanna Mills? Yes, I heard about it. I heard about Samantha's testimony in court.
Because I didn't see her. Only Samantha did.
But you must have been frightened. Now, why didn't you come to me? Oh, Daphne, how long is it going to be before you trust me?
I can't answer that.
How long? Before I can show myself to you, for Quentin's sake. It would ease his mind to know that you are in good hands, that I love you very much. You know that now, don't you? Don't you, my dear? My poor, poor Daphne. So confused you are. But someday you will find out how much you like me, how much you love me.
If Quentin knew you said that.
But you won't tell him.
Because I don't want to upset him more than he already
Oh,
is.
come now, Daphne. That's not the reason. That's not the real reason at all. It's only because you believe every word that I say that we will love each other someday very strongly. Yes, we will. And all the fear that you feel against me will slowly dissipate. Now I know. I can tell.
Jeremy Grimes, how fortunate I am to have found you. I've needed an accountant for years, and this is the very first time I've ever understood how much I realized in royalties from Love's First Summer. Oh, but your father's not going to like you working for me, even part-time.
Then he must never know.
It's hard to believe that Mordecai Grimes is your father. You're nothing like him, I'm glad to say. Oh, I'm sorry, but I always speak frankly. You don't believe in this witchcraft trial, do you?
I can give you a list of things I don't believe in. Witchcraft is first.
Oh, you need say no more. You're always welcome here.
Thank you, Mrs. Collins. I'm very grateful to you. Do you think that Carrie Stokes is old enough to be courted?
Well, certainly. I was married when I was only 2 years old. But you should ask her sponsor first.
Well, who is her sponsor, Miss Collins?
Well, Quentin, of course.
Well, I can hardly ask him. He'd throw me from the jail. Mordecai's son.
Well, try Gerard Stiles.
The new Master Collinwood.
You've never met him? Oh, you might get along very well.
Well, tell me, don't you have an errand you'd like me to do for you now?
No.
Well, surely you have something to go to Collinwood? Something terribly important?
Oh, as a matter of fact, I have, of course. Those books. How could I have forgotten them? Go. And good luck with Carrie.
Thank you, Miss Collins. You know, if I weren't so determined to court Carrie, I'd come courting you.
I'm fascinated about your new book on vampirism, dear Flora. You've learned so much about it since last we talked.
Fascinating is hardly the word for such an evil being. Flora, have you found anything in your research that might give us evidence to discover the truth about Roxanne?
Actually, I have. At least I think so. There was a vampire in Collinsport in 1797.
What?
They didn't realize it, but I'm convinced of it. I've gotten the papers of that year. And those attacks, exactly like those suffered by you and poor Julia, began in the winter of 1796, and continued for 6 months.
That was during the time that my father, the Reverend Trask, was here investigating witchcraft at Collinwood.
I do not intend to discuss witchcraft with you, Lamar. In fact, I'm surprised that you even dared come to this house knowing how I feel about Quentin.
Well, we are united, at least, Flora, in the common cause to find out who the vampire is.
And that's all we are united in. I want that clearly understood.
Dear Flora, who lived here at Collinwood in 1796?
Now, let's see. Daniel was a child. There was Ben Stokes, of course. And Barnabas's father lived at the old house until he went to England. That same year, I believe. Oh, Lamar, the year your father disappeared, he told the newspaper that the following day he was going to have an important announcement to make about the attacks.
Yes, that was the reason he was never heard from again. He was killed before he could say what he'd found.
Isn't it a shame? If Daniel were alive, I'm sure he could help us.
Or Ben Stokes. He was Barnabas Collins' servant, was he not?
Yes, he was.
Then it is a shame. He could have helped us a great deal.
Jeremy, what are you doing here?
I've come to tell you that I've murdered my father. Please help me before the constables come.
Oh, you're crazy. But Mordecai Grimes will kill you if he finds out.
Yes, but he has so much to find out. That I'm here, and that I'm working for Mrs. Flora Collins.
You're working for Flora? Doing what?
I'm doing her accounts in my spare time, so I'll have enough money to leave.
Leave? Where would you go?
The original Barnabas Collins left for England in 1797. Supposed.
Lamar Trask, he'll tell your father. Please hide.
However, I've not been able to find any evidence that the English branch of the Collins family ever existed.
Hey, Carrie, there you are.
Good evening, my dear.
Mr. Trask and I were just talking about your grandfather. He had some belongings that we don't know where they are. After his death, we couldn't find them.
Well, everything is in his room. Why?
Well, Mr. Trask has a book. Carrie, is there something wrong?
No, not at all.
Are you sure?
Yes, it just upsets me to talk about my grandfather. I'm sure whatever book you want will be in his room.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, my dear.
I'd better leave.
Please be careful, they're just going upstairs. You said when you had the money, you would leave. Where would you go?
Meet me. Tonight. At the brook where the fence crosses it. After supper, and I'll tell you.
I can't.
If you wanted to, you would. You'd better find out where I'm going when I get the money. Because I might take you with me.
Jeremy?
I'll be there, waiting. Meet me. Please?
I think I will.
It's hard to believe that Ben Stokes would write a diary.
It's not a diary, really. It's more of a journal, written after the fact. It's incredible, isn't it, that Ben Stokes could neither read nor write till Barnabas Collins taught him.
It's also very incredible how much Barnabas' father looks a lot like him. They could be the same man.
Indeed. Perhaps they are the same man. If Barnabas Collins is a vampire, he would live forever and never change.
Yes, but that journal there doesn't indicate one iota that he was a vampire.
Yes, but it was written by Ben Stokes, who was his devoted servant. He would never say anything against him. But listen to this. It was during the witchcraft trial, the day I testified that Victoria Winters was not a witch, the day the witch herself appeared in court, that the Reverend Trask made his last trip to the old house. He made the mistake of finding the secret in the basement of the old house. That's where I was the day that Randall destroyed Roxanne. Barnabas Collins had locked me in there because he said I was under her power. As I waited for someone to release me, I heard sounds coming from behind a brick wall. Sounds of rattling chains.
What did you find?
Nothing. Nothing at all. It was just a brick wall. But now I'm convinced that it was my father's spirit behind the wall. The sounds I heard was his spirit trying to reach me.
So, The next step is that we must go to the basement.
It was here, I swear it, where I heard the chains.
Should have stayed upstairs in case someone comes back.
At last I found my father's burial place. The horror of it, that he should have died like this.
Only if we can be sure that it is him. A note.
So it's true. Barnabas Collins killed my father. I only pray that it is God's will that this note tells me why.